Okay, I am ready when you're ready. Start the countdown.
3, 2, 1.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Achieving Unity Success Formula. Yes, we can achieve unity by working with each other, helping each other, and growing forward, remembering who we are, what we're doing, and how we can't do it alone. This is the Achieving Unity Success Guide that's on your screen right now. Hope you'll look at the left and get the QR code, get a copy of the Unity Guide, view it. Let me know what you think about it because it talks about us achieving unity and the guide that we have to making life better for all of us. On the bottom right, you'll see the QR code for our blog. I put a newsletter out twice a month, with 2 articles twice a month, plus other information about some of our greatest guests. And as the time comes, like Marianna, who is our guest today, she will have an article out there very soon. So look to our newsletter, watch it, but go ahead and grab our Achieving Unity guide now. Thank you. The Achieving Unity Success Formula podcast. This is number 36. We are moving right on up there, and it's exciting to be with you again. And I hope you were here last week. Hope you're watching it on YouTube and coming back every week. Please put this on your calendar because we're coming here for you. Love to hear from you. The Reality Focused Dynamics is the company. Success Focused Solution is our vision. And that's what we can do through all the missions that we run. You can go to our website with the QR code on the left, and you can contact me if you have any questions or any way that I can help, or any way that I can help your company, your organization, or association, speaking, coaching, workshops. Let me know. Connect with me. That QR code on the right. Contact me. Let's see how we can work together by achieving unity. Again, like I said, reality focused dynamics equals success focused solutions. We have proven compassionate strategies that turns that conflict into lasting harmony. This happens at work, it happens at home, it happens in every relationship that matters. You're frustrated by tension or arguments. Our 7-step roadmap gives you the tools to move from that conflict to collaboration quickly and confidently. Are you craving some stronger trust, stronger connection? You discover communication tactics that build respect, repair relationships, and unify teams, communities, and families alike. Again, transform those conflicts into connection. Learn how we're doing. Learn how we're connecting with others, how they're connecting with us, and how to build that to be better together, achieving unity. Unity inspires us at home. It shapes our society, and it truly transforms workplaces. We help you turn the frustrations into understanding. How many times have you said, "What the frustration?" We can find value in our actions instead of reacting in that anger or the frustrations that impact us every day. We show that anger holds no value. Most of us know that already, but we show it and we show the reasons why, because anger is just actions not gaining effective results. It's our actions that are doing no good, no value. ANGER, anger, actions not gaining effective results. Yes, life happens in every relationship, from personal to professional to social. It comes from parenting time to partnerships in the bedroom or the boardroom and every room in between. We show you how to embrace the challenges, to look at them, see what we're doing, what we can do better, and encourage a more inspired and inclusive future. That's the EII. And if you go out to my blog, you'll see several articles. There will be 10 very soon, Renee, very soon about those 10 articles talking about encouraging, inspiring, and including others. What we want is one vision, one goal, achieving unity in every area of our life. Our call to action, let's ditch the drama. Ditch the drama and get stuff done. We'll show you how to turn your life from what may seem like a dumpster fire to a well-oiled machine. Maybe just that small dumpster fire, but we can turn it into something that works for you, your family, your community, your workplace, socially. Achieving unity is the path to stronger relationships, inspired leadership, and lasting change. You can find out more about our course by using the QR code at the bottom of the screen. Contact us today, the company, realityfocusdynamics.com, because we can be focused, reality focused. And that's the business phone number, 303-362-8733, which is the same as 303 focused, which will take us to where we want to be. Our 7 steps to achieving unity success formula is living life fully through present moment awareness. The next one starts on August 7th. It's a Thursday, same time as this. Positive coaching does not just solve problems, and Marianna is going to talk about this more later also, but coaching builds the bridges to possibility. Encourage each person's growth by replacing criticism with compassion. Inspire change through hope, not pressure. Every step forward matters. Include every voice so no one feels unseen, unheard, or unworthy. When we replace that disconnection with just a little bit of empathy and that frustration with a little bit of understanding, we are then able to create a space for trust, collaboration, and shared success. This is how we thrive together, achieving unity. Our next podcast, and again, these are weekly, every Wednesday, same time. Next week, we're going to have Robert Butwin. He's going to be talking about relationships in a virtual world, like this podcast. It's virtual, but valuable. Michael Olson is the next week with what's called the silent epidemic. He's talking about fatherhood and being a dad in this new world that we have. A lot of parents are coming into a new understanding of where we should have been centuries ago about both parents being successful in a relationship. And that means all 4 podcast presentations for the month of June will all be all about dads and fathers and parenting. The second week, Sean Yesner, the widowed parent, and what that feels like. That'll be on June 11th. And Kurt Schumacher, he's been on one of our podcasts previously, but he's going to come back and talk more about father friendly and being able to share more of the father being a true part of that parental figure. And it's about both parents are the best parents. Then we have Alan Stevens coming up, comes up the end of June, talking about international profiling and communication specialists. He'll be talking about communication and how communication works best. But now, our special guest for today, I am so excited to bring her on. Her name is Marianna Lead. She is an ICF Master Certified Coach, and everyone needs a coach. I've got a couple because the coaches are about talking through situations in what we do and then learning how we all can learn, and that's what we must do. Must learn so we're not repeating the same thing over all the time, but we're learning from it. Marianna, after joining the coaching industry back in 2002, Marianna has been twice elected president of the International Coaching Federation New York City chapter, and she has taught and or designed many courses at the New York University, including teaching coaching at NYU's master's degree level. As the first life career coach to be featured at the Smithsonian Institution, she's been a pioneering voice for tapping the power of imagery, imagination, intuition, and emotion in coaching, and have helped raise the public's awareness of coaching. And she's the creator and host of Life Coach TV. It's a primetime show on the Manhattan Cable TV and Life Coach Radio. By 2008, she had become a Master Certified Coach, an MCC, continuing to serve as an International Coaching Federation credentialing portfolio assessor, assessing other coaches, assessing the process. And she founded an online coaching school called Goal Imagery Institute. It was renamed Goal Imagery Coaching Academy back in 2024. Marianna has done so much in building us all about being in unity, how we can help work with each other. So please help me and join me in welcome Marianna Lead.
Thank you very much, Mark.
Hey, Marianna, how are you today?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
Good. Thank you. So good to see you. Thank you for being here. This is going to be an absolute treat for so many. And I enjoy talking with you and I enjoy learning from you because of the amount of education and experience that you have in coaching that helps so many of us. So again, thanks for joining us. And if you could you start by telling us in your own words, who is Marianna? What brought you into this world of coaching?
Well, wow. It's such a loaded question.
It is.
Who
That's a
are
good way
you?
to start off.
It
Who are
actually
you?
does make me think of my book, because it's me, my brand, and why. It's like, who are you on this planet? Um, yeah, a philosophical question. Who are you? What makes you Mariana? Mariana, what makes you Mariana? Um, I think that it's a long journey for most people who come to coaching. They come after having some level of education, after living a life to a certain degree. Unfortunately, coaching is not taught at high school. It's not taught earlier, that's for sure. So most people go their own way and kind of stumble upon it almost by accident, or if they're privileged and lucky to come across it in some formal ways, or maybe their parent has a coach, or maybe they went to a workshop about coaching, and that maybe is lucky, a lucky strike. For me, it was a little bit different. And I had my own business before I came into coaching. I was a hypnotist actually, and I had a full blown practice, and everything that I know, I teach. So I was teaching hypnosis courses at all levels. I'm also a professional actress. I also had acting classes that I was teaching, and
Wow.
I had a drama club that I was leading at my local shorefront. Why? Um, and so yeah, kind of eclectic, right? But then coaching kind of put it all together in a way that made sense. And um, I think I was just getting burned down, from running my own things and having to do as much as I was doing. And I was looking for ways to move into maybe speaking more than creating your own workshops. And someone suggested to look into coaching. And then that very night, they had a meeting of ICF chapter in Manhattan, New York City chapter. And I'm like, well, that's an interesting coincidence, coinkydinky. And I just went, and then I never left. I went, and I was so taken by the quality of people, the quality of I don't remember what topic the workshop was on, but I was just impressed by everything pretty much. And it felt like I was at home professionally. And I wanted to stay, and I stayed. And then after the meeting, I came up to people who seemed to be in charge, and I asked them how I can bring value. and the rest is history.
Mhm.
I kind of never left.
That's excellent. It's good to hear. And the ICF, International Coaching Federation, is an awesome organization, and it is reaching out so much more. I was a member of the Denver branch. I
Hmm.
was a marketing director, and they are just did the same thing. Went to a meeting. The people were so supportive. Everyone working together. It just ICF brings so much out of people and helps those who do want to coach. And sometimes get some of your feedback on here too. As we learn and as we build, as you've also mentioned, they don't teach this in school.
No.
One of the things that we need to teach more about coaching in school, about learning and teamwork. And we also need to learn about more about law that helps us get put laws together and people can read and write laws that are understandable. But if we could start first with the coaching and have people learn to work together and talk to a professional, someone else to help them grow. Have you looked at how we could do that, or there may be some steps that you've thought of, or maybe you could think about that we could do that to put that into our school system?
Um, One thing that I will never do is to be part of any government, right? And so I think that we're going in a territory that like, there's nothing I can do, honestly.
Hmm.
Like, I don't see that this is my part of influence. I think that we all do the best that we can do in the place where we are supposed to be, right? So
Hmm.
my place is education. And my place is, I have a school. It's an online school. We pretty much accept anyone who wants to become a coach, who's passionate about learning the skill and wanting then coach other people. From the very beginning, I created a school that was everything was taught online when it was kind of a novel thing to do. And we have alumni and students from literally from all over the world. And actually, that's what attracted me to your podcast because it's called Unity. One of the important words is unity. And so, for me, it's about that really. So that
Thank
if
you.
if anyone wants to become a coach, if anyone wants to find a coach, if anyone wants to educate themselves, I make it available. I make it
Mhm.
as accessible as possible, right? But one thing that I can say about education is that we do attract a lot of teachers. So we do have in the school, who people who come to learn. A lot of them are professors and then also just regular teachers, high school teachers, and also school counselors. And those are people who are going to be directly influencing their students, not me personally.
Hmm.
But it works indirectly in
It
my
does.
case.
Hmm. That's good. And let me apologize too, because that's one of the things I have worked on the government side before,
Ah,
and I see some things in just the writing of our laws that are so wrong for the layperson in so much that we do. So I didn't mean to challenge you with that part of it. I went just exactly as you did, how we help schools to be able to feel more free about teaching coaching, about helping our students learn that it is good and that there's growth for all of us by opening up the coaching path to more people. And I think as yourself, you went into it, you went to a meeting, you saw what others were doing, and it helped bring a lot of your expertise forward, right?
as you're saying these things, I'm thinking of my background. I'm thinking that how I was learning when I was a kid, in high school and earlier, because not everyone knows I actually come from former Soviet Union. And as you know, they've been writing and rewriting history in their history books, and so um, and I think that the teachers that I remember the best are not those who were teaching by the book, but those who would put the book away and taught from their own knowledge and their own passion, and involved students in open dialogue. And so it actually takes a lot of bravery. I mean, it took for those teachers back then because the conditions were very different that I grew up in to be able to do that at the risk of whatever, right? And
Hmm.
just teach the right way. But the bottom line, I think that good teaching is about creating an environment that's supportive and interactive. And to have a teacher that's passionate about their topic and doesn't teach how to connect the dots by like a painting, like it's not that you repeat the same words and the same formula and the same question in every single situation, but to teach people to think to think conceptually and to be creative and to own whatever it is that you are teaching them. That's that's the mastery of teaching.
I think that is so well said, Marianne. That was so touching on the part that there are times, if we're in accounting or work like that, there's times we need to know that 2 + 2 = 4, but there's so much more time that we need to learn how to act instead of react and look at our situations a little bit better and know what to do. And as you mentioned, your professional speaking, for us to be able to tell stories
Mm.
that explain what we're talking about more than just giving the facts, which I know I've been in computers most of my life, and it's always been right and wrong, good, bad, yes or no, if, then, else. So it was a challenge for me, but that's what I think brings it out now that we need to understand that there are situations that a story, I think, as you're talking about, those situations are better when they're used to help us explain what we need to do and how we need to make that decision of take that road less traveled or to go in a way that we're more secure and how we work that, right?
Yes, I mean, there's always a safe way and then the right way.
Mhm. And there's always that challenge there too of even saying it may not be for sure the right way, and it may not be quite as safe as our comfort level might take us down, but that road might be the chance for us to expand or learn a little bit more. And I think as we're talking about with our school systems, to open up a few more doors and know that we're going to make mistakes. There'll be minor mistakes, but we will make mistakes along the way, but we'll learn from those mistakes and do better on the next trip, right?
Totally. I mean, speaking about parenting, I know you're going to have a lot of guests on parenting. One thing that I always taught my daughter is that your mommy is not perfect. Mommy makes mistakes. And I say actually the same thing to my students. I say, hey, I don't know everything, but I will do my best to find out, and go to the right source if I need to find out something for you guys.
I may not know, but I
Mm,
can look it up.
mm-hmm,
I may not know, but I can help you find that answer, right?
exactly.
You founded the Goal Imagery Coaching Academy.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's it's impressive. Can you share how that idea was, what created that idea? How was it born? And then what makes your academy maybe different from some of the others?
Well, when you can't find something that you really, really like, when there's a missing piece, then you create your own. That's it,
Very good.
right? So when I entered the coaching industry, I'm always hungry for knowledge. I think that teachers who are really good teachers we're always like really good learners. I always learn something. I want to learn. I'm curious. I'm a curious person, and all of those different things that are offered in coaching, positive psychology coaching, neuroscience coaching, systemic coaching, and then there is a look to change theories in coaching, or adult learning theories in coaching, or adult theories in coaching. There's just so many different perspectives, And I said, why do I have to choose? Like, I want to learn all of these wonderful things, emotional intelligence and coaching, right? And so, but I couldn't find one school that would offer all of it. And then another consideration were the different topics, which were considered to be niches, and I still do, right? So, uh, any topic that you choose, like I wanted to talk about spirituality, well, then that belongs into a spiritual coaching niche. Or I want to talk about my career, well, that belongs in a career coaching niche. And so, as many topics, as many niches, and I'm like, well, it just didn't even make sense because marketing wise, people would be thinking of us as consultants. Because if you're talking about just that one thing, that you sound like an expert in that thing, so it means I should come and ask you questions for you to guide me. But the bottom line is that that's not what we do in coaching,
Right.
right? And if you look at the ICF, International Coaching Federation core competencies and their requirements for certification, accreditation with them, then you're not going to see any even conversation about niches. It's all conceptual because all of those competencies are meant to be applied conceptually to any topic. But the schools took it very differently. And you would see a specific training on health coaching, specific training on executive coaching, and so on and so forth. And I'm like, okay, it's just made me dizzy. It's like, why? Why? And then not only that, and thank you for that laughter, but and not only that, when people are trying to decide what school they have to go to, it's almost becoming a prerequisite for them to decide on what their niche is going to be when they don't even know what coaching is all that much because I haven't really experienced being a coach yet, right? So it's just, I said to myself, mm, that doesn't work for me. And me being a teacher at heart, okay, I've always, if I learn something, I want to teach it. And I mean, it's a natural gift. If I know something, I can give it in a very kind of easy way. By the way, I see that Vonda joined, and Vonda is in one of my courses right now.
Oh, excellent.
So she
Rhonda?
can actually, yes. And so it's really amazing how all of that, all of that actually happens in real life. And I was sitting on it like for a while, and then people were asking me to consult on some of them wanting to open up schools, and I was giving free advice to so many people. And then I said to myself, what's stopping me to actually open up my own school? Like, what am I doing? Really, really? Why am I not moving forward with this? And I just did it, and that's it.
And it was good you did that forward because for me, that's a lot of what comes out of my coaching is helping people go ahead and take that step. Don't want to do it. We're so hung on our comfort levels. But let me touch back on Vonda and Jamie and Martha. If you have questions while we're talking, if you have something that we're talking about, and you have a question about it, put it in the chat. Renee will let us know, and we can answer any kind of questions or maybe even expand on points as we go through this. Because when we learn more, we grow more. And I think as Marianna is talking about, there are quite a few areas of coaching that helps in every vertical, in every market, and too many times we fall into those paths, maybe the tunnels where this is what we learned and this is what we teach because this is what we learned, but also as we talked earlier, taking that road less traveled because there's ways to move out of that path and learn more and grow more, right? And then Mariana, you talk in some of your academy. Your academy emphasizes a holistic approach. Kind of going with what I'm talking about here, so we'll kind of go back to this. What does holistic coaching mean to you, and how do you apply it?
I think that first of all, I mean, more than anything else, holistic and application to the way I teach and to my school, means conceptual and comprehensive. So it's like we would take a concept and we would show students how to apply that concept across any niche, making it holistically applicable, right? And we also include all of those amazing sciences that played role in creating amazing techniques in coaching, such as neuroscience, emotional intelligence, positive psychology, and other things that I mentioned before, and then other things that I didn't mention, right? So we include all of the things that uh, became a backbone of coaching. We include all of it. And that creates this kind of a holistic environment. But there's just holistic, it's just so many aspects to that word because it's also who's in my classes. Like Vanda is here, right? And in her class alone, we have people from so many different countries and so many different nationalities. And the class is only 7 people. We have very small classes on purpose
Wow.
to give
Oh,
more
that's
individual
good.
attention. But even in
Right.
that small class, every single person represents a different nationality. And I think that's quite amazing and it's very uniting and holistic too.
I like what you're saying. I'm going to go back to a word I think you used, that missionality, in just a second. But one thing that Martha asked, I think this is a good question. Do you ever have a client that has had a really, really bad attitude? And how do you help people like that?
Well, thank you so much, Martha. So personally, like I'm in a very envious position because I can actually choose my clients. Like I don't have to work with someone I don't like or someone doesn't like me. Like I'm not. But if you really want to work with that person, we have to really remember that it has nothing to do with you as a coach because the client is reflecting and you are reflecting off of the client, whatever's happening with them. So I think that the worst thing you can do is to start getting angry or self-conscious or trying to overcompensate, right? It's really about holding the mirror, but in a nice way, in a way that non-attachment way, and be careful not to label anything that you are seeing. But for instance, your client is folding his hands or her hands, right, like this, in a cross posture and showing that he's closed. So don't say, well, I see that you have a closed posture, but maybe you could say, well, I see I see your hands crossed, and I wonder what does it mean to you? Like literally let them explain things, and how
Yes.
does that impact their own perception. I see the frown on your face. I wonder what what does it mean, right, to the person. And also bad attitude, again, it's a label, right? So we want to try to stay away from labels, but just be curious. Like whatever you're getting from the client, I would just throw it back and say, what does it mean to you? And what do you want to do with that information? Like I'm an observer. I'm an
I
observer.
think, and I think that's the greatest way to be too, Marianna, as a coach, is an observer, to be able to observe these things. And it's one of these things that I see when people are angry, and that's one of the things that they have a really bad attitude. That's one of the things that I work with in what I do because I've been there. I know some of this, and I don't mean to brag by any means, because there was a time and I did not know how to handle anger and my attitude, being that the big shot as we have learned. So, but taking what Mariana is saying about being observant, but also asking the people about, am I hearing an attitude? Am I hearing something that you're not happy with? But asking people, I think, is Mariana's saying, seeing what that might be. I see a frown. Can you help me with why you're frowning? And being able to get people to open up more, and people that maybe even people that come and talk with me about Well, they always come ask me questions, but they never remember the answers. What do you do? Well, what do you do in that? Let me ask you, Mariana, how would you help handle that kind of situation? People are asking you questions constantly. You give them answers. They don't learn from the answers. How can we get them to put that goal imagery ahead of them to see?
Mhm.
Let's remember what we learned, perhaps. What do you think?
Yes. Well, Mark, you shared an interesting acronym on your slides about anger, right? Anger. And I truly
Thank you.
think that our our clients are not stupid. Our clients are right. They're smart. And so I think that once you reflect back what they're saying, how they're saying, what you're picking up from them, no one wants to stay in being angry. No one wants to stay in, as Martha was describing, in bad attitude. So, because it's not really moving them forward, it's a waste of energy. That's it. And so, if you reflect it back for them to actually deal with it, they're going to say, well, I want to change it. And then the conversation moves into how you're going to do that. And so, and to respond to your next question, I don't give them advice, right? I'm a coach. I'm not supposed to be giving them advice. And if they're asking me for advice, I'm going to just ask another question. And I'm not avoiding actually
Mm,
sharing something personal, but I'm going to say, hey, if you really, really want to know my opinion, I will tell you my opinion if you still want it by the end of our session, because this is about you. This is not about me. We come from different backgrounds. We may have different belief systems. We have different lives, different circumstances. And what's good for me may be like not acceptable for you and may not be helpful. So let's just sort out what would be useful for you. And then you know what? Not one client ever came back at the end of the coaching session and said, okay, so let me know now, what would you do? Because at that point, they don't really care.
mm. And that's a good point. And thank you for your comment too on my acronym on anchor, because that's what I ask a lot of people. Have you ever seen someone that has shown their anger, that you were proud of them? Have you ever seen someone that was angry and you went up and said, "Hey, this guy was angry, and that was good"? No.
Right?
You may talk about it, but it's not good. And what we can do to, again, help them without giving an opinion is, how would you feel about that if I was acting that way?
Mhm.
And maybe
Yeah.
reopen some of those thoughts. And like yourself, if you don't mind, you built quite a reputation about using imagery, intuition, and emotion in your coaching. How do those tools help people grow?
Well, absolutely. So, one of the things that is very helpful is to ask, what do you want instead? So, you don't want to have bad attitude. If I would ask, well, so how is it helpful? I wouldn't even ask that question ever because I know the answer. Not one single person in their right mind would say, yes, I want to keep my bad attitude, yeah, I want to stay angry, right? No one would say that. So we know the answer to that. But instead, I would say, okay, so great. So you want to change this for yourself. So what would you want to see instead? And it's a very basic, very simple question. But what it does, it literally creates new pathways in your client's brains. Anyone who you're speaking with doesn't even have to be a client, right? It's just a simple question.
Doesn't. Hmm.
And so, and they start bringing those concepts in their mind in terms of how they would like to be, and they start painting with their imagination a new and very different reality. So, and then they see themselves behaving differently. They feel the same themselves experiencing life and responding differently. they're beginning to see the environment differently, right?
Yes,
And it all it creates a snowball effect. And
it
they're
does.
like,
And
go ahead.
I was going to interrupt you because I was just enjoying what you talk about. They create a new reality. They see things differently in their own life, right?
Exactly.
And I think you used a word, I already forgot the word, but missioning, what did you, the word that you earlier about their mission, the people in how they develop their mission. And as what I heard you saying, and of course I listen to things and of course can take them into another direction and about missioning because there's so many paths that we have that like the mission toward our vision and our reality. I'm pulling a lot of thoughts here together from just listening to all these things that you're talking about that are so valuable. But each of the missions that we create in our life are based on the reality that we have at that time. So when like you're talking about when you talk to people and you're coaching people and help them with that new image, imagery, you can help them see something better, something maybe more valuable, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, so not only they imagine, imagery is actual experiential thing, right? So some people imagine by visualizing, and but some people actually hear something in their mind's eye, right? Or literally feel something in their body. And most people experience it by combining all of these um, senses, right? So they, and the more they are able to create a mental and emotional environment of being there, the more real it becomes to them, and the more real that they're absorbing it and digesting it and integrating it within their being. And so that future is not something foreign anymore. It's something that they're just experiencing, even though maybe not fully. But even if they're experiencing in 10 or like 20% or whatever, however they can actually experience it, it takes the mystery out of it a little bit too. And it takes the fear
Yes.
out of it because the most basic fear is fear of unknown. And it's at the base of many other fears, like fear of death. It's connected to fear of unknown, fear of speaking, is connected to fear of unknown, and many other fears. So this is like a very, very it's at the base of many other fears, right? And so if we're able to address it and embrace it, and it's not a fear anymore, then we just by doing that, we're taking out lots of obstacles from moving towards the future that we want. And we're literally creating neural passages in our brains, right, to pathways that are going to help us get there. It's becoming real in your mind's eye. And your body doesn't even know the difference between imaginary and real. That's another
Correct.
thing.
Mhm. And as you're talking about that fear, the fear of the unknown, and in that imaging that you talk about, we create our own result of how we feel about that unknown, the unknown, based on our past, our culture, our learnings, right? So that unknown becomes scattered. And because I work with reality and reality focused, I call that FEAR, false evidence about reality, fear. False evidence about reality because we're creating a possible end result that may or may not even be feasible. And to get that fear out of it and not even be thinking on the negative side, but thinking about instead of the fear of the unknown, maybe the fear of how we're going to handle it if it happens and how we could handle the situation. And that's our fear that What if this happens? Chance of it happening may be 1 in a million, maybe worse, maybe better odds than winning the lottery, but just that fear of the unknown and how we're going to handle it if by chance the unknown should occur, right?
Well, I mean, yes. And I think that when people think of what they want versus what they don't want, then the fear, it just moves out of focus. It's just not even a topic anymore. There's no fear. Like there's nothing. Of course, there are going to be some maybe uncomfortable things that we have to move through, but there's just not going to be any fear holding you back because you're going to be
Right.
motivated to move forward. You're going to see and feel the clear path forward. Um, and what you focus on, you strengthen.
Hmm.
So if you focus on
Very
fear,
well
then you,
said.
right? So if
Hmm.
you focus on fear, you're going to feel more of it.
And you're
And
going to give
so,
that fear strength, right? Is that what I heard?
no, I'm saying that if you focus on fear, then you're going to experience more of it, probably,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? Because you're going to be focusing on fear. But if you focus on what you want, then your neural connections are going to be literally singing and happy and motivating you to focus on your positive result. And there's always a way to avoid or overcome obstacles, right? So
Exactly.
we want to focus on what the client wants versus focusing on what the fears are about or focusing on the past or some drama or some
Hmm.
obstacle specifically. But it doesn't mean that we don't take all of those things into consideration when we move forward. But we look at them strategically, again, from the point of the desired future. And if you look at that from that positive energy, then you can move forward much quicker and much more effectively.
Very well said. And that's what I'm talking about too, is with that fear, if you concentrate on that fear, if you focus on the fear itself, the fear becomes stronger because it becomes more part of the way you believe. But like what you're saying, you take that fear away, you move that fear out of your path, out of your vision, out of your image, and allows yourself to grow into a more positive moment, more positive path, right?
Absolutely.
And
Um,
somebody, go ahead.
I see Vanda is asking a question if I include
Oh, okay,
hypnosis.
good. Thank you.
She's asking if I include hypnosis as a technique in my coaching sessions. I don't, because I don't think it would be ethical, right? So I don't use hypnosis with my coaching clients, but I use subconscious techniques. And I use them not in a way of manipulation, but in a way of education. As you and Mark we were, as Mark and I were talking from the beginning of this interview. And so what I mean by that is we don't really know. I mean, again, this is not unfortunately taught in schools. We don't have a manual on how our subconscious mind works. We're not being taught that. And it's very unfortunate, but we all have that. And we have access to much more
Mhm.
than we actually utilize, but we don't know how to utilize it. So I will, with my students and with my clients, I provide literature and I provide some additional techniques to just simply understand the capacity of the subconscious mind and how it works. And so that my clients can manipulate their own subconscious mind. Like I don't their own minds. I don't have to do it. Like for
Mhm.
instance, I'm gonna give you an example. If I say to myself, like I don't like to do something, right? Like but I know I have to do it. But I'm gonna say to myself, I'm going to, like, right after I do this, I'm going to watch my favorite, I don't know, uh, sitcom that I've been waiting to see. I'm going to reward myself, and so I know exactly what I'm doing. Like I know that I'm giving myself every word. And then subconscious level, now my focus, speaking about focus, connecting our conversation from before to now, right? Speaking about our focus, now my focus is on what I'm going to watch. And I'm not focusing, oh my goodness, I really don't want to do this task anymore. I don't really, it's a drag. I'm thinking, oh, I'm just going to effectively get it out of the way because my emotions are already on something positive. I'm already anticipating
Yes.
that reward. I know exactly what I'm doing to myself, right? And it still works. It still works. That's the wonder
Yes.
of it. It's a wonderful thing about it. And so, and I don't know anyone who has a goal and yet they have some things to do that I may not be crazy about. Like, for instance, they may be excited to go for a new job, but maybe they're not excited about updating their resume or
Right.
getting some specific information on research or getting up early in the morning. Like, we all have our own things that we have to overcome. But if you know how to talk to yourself, uh, it really helps.
It does. And I like what you're saying too about talking to yourself, helping yourself share the ideas and think about our realities, where we are today, what we may believe today, maybe something that needs to adjust. And maybe we need to adapt to a new process, a new way of thinking. Back to the coaching level, if you don't mind me, I'm going to change subjects a little bit here. We have about 9 minutes left.
Sure.
I talked to a couple of things about your coaching. So, what advice would you give to someone? Well, the things we've talked about today have been excellent. Thank you. So, if someone were to ask you, I want to be a coach, but I'm not sure I have what it takes, what would you tell them?
Well, we have like a little litmus test on my website. So, but I think that if you're asking yourself that question, then there's probably something that's already pulling you towards this industry. And usually, people who are being pulled are those who are actually asked to provide guidance. People who are easy to talk to because they listen well. And so, if as I'm describing this, if you're seeing yourself in that, that maybe coaching is your calling. What you have to be really though consider though is coaching nowadays, it's still entrepreneurial industry.
This.
Most of the time you're going to be required to, well, talk about your services, sell them, and at least at the beginning, it's not going to be an income that you can count on. So if you have to be okay with that type of level of unpredictability, as any of us who run our own businesses have, right? So just a certain risk element to owning your own business, no matter what that business is. So you have to consider that if you're okay with that. And another thing that you can also consider is that right now, maybe people are asking for your guidance and you think, yeah, coaching is for me because I give so much advice. And the thing to consider is that in coaching, we actually don't give advice at all, even though since it's based on partnership, on deep partnership between you and your client, you absolutely can provide a perspective, which is different from providing advice. And there is absolutely no attachment whether your client follows your perspective or someone else's perspective or none at all, right? And so if you think of yourself as a guru, as someone that you absolutely want people to follow, then maybe coaching is related and maybe you'll be able to use some coaching skills. But coaching this is not really for you, right? So you have to really think about how you fit into the energy of being a coach. So, but if you're really curious about people, if you want to provide your perspective, but you're more curious about their perspective, if you want to really understand, truly understand, in your clients, another human being, their beliefs, where they're coming from, their culture, and help them create their answers based on who they are versus based on who you are.
Yes.
Right. Well, then you'll be a really good coach.
That is good too. And something I want to mention and get your quick feedback. I have two more questions for you. We have about 5 minutes left, but I myself, I use coaches. I have coaches that I talk with that we share back and forth, been longtime friends. And I think that's something that we all need, even, well, somebody that's qualified, but even coaches need coaches. We all need that help and that supporting hand, right?
Absolutely. I agree.
How do you see the future of coaching, and what role will your academy play in shaping that future?
Yes. Well, we're in the age of AI, and more companies are hiring team coaches versus individual coaches because they're getting a better bang on their buck, right?
Hmm.
And more companies are also implementing AI coaching because with that they get even a better bang on their buck, right? And I think
Or at
that
least they think they do.
the
That's one of the things. Artificial intelligence, again, is artificial. It's gathering of information. Being in IT, it's all based on each AI, and each AI is different. But please go ahead.
exactly. But so what I'm personally seeing and what I think is going to happen is that bad and mediocre coaches are going to be absolutely replaced by AI.
Mhm.
And
Good point.
right? And so my coaches are never going to be replaced because we train them from the perspective of mastery. And being the first coach who brought the conversation about the depth of coaching, bringing the conversations about emotions to coaching, and imagery and imagination to coaching, we go deep with our clients. And the learning from masterful coaches, not just by me, but all my other teachers as well. And that's great coaching. And great coaching will never be replaced.
That's right. Because
And
you can
so,
in go ahead.
and that's a legacy.
Mhm. Very well said. Very well said. All right, we've got about 3 minutes left here. Let me ask people right now. Thank you so much first. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Marianna, for being here, sharing this information. If someone wants to know more about you, wants to contact you, your URL was at the bottom of your picture. I forgot to point that out. And watches the video again. But is there a quick way that you can help people if they want to contact you? How would they do that?
Yes, absolutely. So they can Google next to my name, you see Goal Imagery Coaching Academy. If you Google that, it'll come up right up, on the site. You can also quicken it up by just typing goal imagery as one word.com. And that's our website, goalimagery.com.
Excuse me.
Follow me on LinkedIn. I'm there almost every single day with some kind of a challenging in your face post about
Excellent. That's
coaching.
good.
Yeah,
That's a great way for people to start. Mariana, that's a great way to do it. And like you say, in your face. Sometimes what we talk about and the stories that we share may not be all Cinderella type stories, may not be all the good stories, but the true stories. And like you said, a little bit about the reality, right?
absolutely. I'm just saying that what Wanda is writing. Thank you so much. She's saying it's been a great experiencing learning
Hmm.
from
And she had
Mariana.
to leave it a little bit earlier. Yeah,
Yeah, I
that's true.
appreciate that comment. Yes.
She did. Oh, that's Vonda too. Yes.
No,
Yeah,
Wanda is
thank
still
you. Help
here.
me watching it. Yeah, okay, I'm still here, but yes. I know. Thank you for helping me watch that because there's on my other monitor on the side, so I do miss it
Mm,
at times.
yeah,
Thank you for doing that. But yeah, we
yeah.
only have about a minute left. Thank you for being here. This is awesome, and I think the information that you have brought to our audience is excellent. And please remember, this will be on YouTube by Monday. So the people out here, please share it with others. Let them see it. Because what we do, and what I always say, I build bridges, real bridges, not bridges of steel, not bridges of aluminum, but bridges between people. Building that unity. As Marianna said before, it's all about the unity. I show how the Achieving Unity Success Fact formula is the 7 simple steps that transforms any relationship, personal, professional, social. We want to make sure we drive toward better communication, better collaboration, stronger teams, less frustration, clear understanding. If you are ready to ditch division, ditch negativity, and start building connections that truly, truly matter, schedule time with Marianna, with myself, but take that step for achieving unity to make each of our lives one step better. Marianna, thank you so much. I so enjoyed talking with you. We'll put this out later, and I'll put an article out for you later as well. Let's keep building. We can do it. Right?
Thank you, Mark. Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Right. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate you being here. Please come back next week. Love talking with you again. Cheers.